happen.
You got that right. Well, except for maybe if you take maple syrup and you put it down. Oh, we're live.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Rankin. We got a very fun episode today. We're going to be hailing our corporate overlords Disney and celebrating the top 12 Disney live-action movies. And I've got a great panel to talk about it. Here we've got Andrew. Andrew, how's it going?
Doing pretty well. I'm excited for this. I was looking over the list, and it was so hard to find the list because of all the reboots. But I found the list, and I have a good amount on here that I'm really excited to talk about.
Also here, we've got Cameron Holzman. Cameron, how's it going?
It's going good, yeah. You asked me to be on here. I figured why not? Some of my favorite movies of all time are live-action Disney films, and I agree, finding lists that weren't just the remakes was difficult, but eventually I managed to do it, and I've got a list, and we'll see what happens.
And also we've got our newest member of Take 3, Doug Castle. Doug, how's it going?
Man, it is going great, Malcolm. I'm feeling great. I'm excited to be here. I agree with the guys up until I was like, you know what, screw that. Wikipedia, list of live-action Disney movies. They can be like hybrids and everything. I was like, just go through that. Go through the decades. But yeah, I'm excited. This could be fun.
And also we've got Matt. Matt, how's it going?
It's going good. This funny story how this happens is me and Malcolm, will after shows or wherever, we'll just hang out on Skype because I lack a social life and Malcolm pretends he lacks one for my benefit. And he's posting the polls for Rankum. He posts this, and I go, motherfucker, literally yesterday on Letterboxd, it's like, I need to make new lists. So I'm like, top 10 live action Disney movies. So I was like, can I be on it? Yeah, it's a hard list because genuinely, if you go like way back to like pre-80s, there's a lot of there was this odd thing where like live action Disney movies were like their big thing even more than their animated stuff, and then in the 80s they just went totally animated. But it was a fun list to come up with, and I'm really interested to see, because there's a lot of years of Disney. I'm interested to see what we come up with here and who we piss off in the process.
Everyone.
That needs to be, okay, Malcolm, I've probably done this before, but that needs to be the tagline for Rankum. Who do we piss off in the process?
I mean, it seems like every time we do a list, someone's getting pissed off for something. So
it's usually me.
But anyway, how the show works is we all go round and nominate a Disney movie think blogs on the top 12 list, and then we'll vote yes or no to whether it should be there. And to kick it off, we're going to start with Andrew. Andrew, what's the first movie you're going to bring it up?
Okay, the first movie I'm going to bring up is probably one of the obvious ones, but I don't care because I love this movie. It's Mary Poppins. Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke are just magical on screen. The songs are perfect. One of my favorite Disney songs of all time, Feed the Birds, is in here. Everything about this movie, it's so close. It's practically perfect in every way. I'm nominating Mary Poppins.
Cameron, what do you say about Mary Poppins?
Well, as Andrew specifically would know, I'm a big fan of movie musicals. Tune in for that on a different channel at some point in the future. We truly don't know when it's going to be happening. But no, Mary Poppins is fantastic. I'm not as reverent of it as it appears to be, but just Julie Andrews' performance alone elevates that so highly that, it's amazing that in Mary Poppins Returns, Emily Blunt could even emulate what Julie Andrews was able to do. And so, yeah, it's a yes for me. For sure.
Doug, what do you say about Mary Poppins?
Yeah, it's a yes. It's the second movie that I actually thought of by myself before I went to any list. And Mary Poppins was a go-to as a kid. It was just that kind of movie that you could put on and enjoy no matter what time of year. So it's a definite yes.
And with that, Mary Poppins makes the list. Matt, what would you have said?
I would have said yes. It's not on my list just because there's another movie in the related to Mary Poppins that I put above it, but I adore this movie. I think as far as Disney musical goes, this is top 5. Julie Andrews deserved that Oscar. She won, and I think Dick Van Dyke, like once you get past the like totally offensive Cockney accent, his performance as Bert is incredible, like physically, comedy, and also like dramatic. Like the stuff with the kids, I think, in regards to his dad, he plays all that really straight, and it's a really like I think one of the most, not just in Disney, but I think one of the most beautiful scenes in movies. Period. Is Mr. Banks walking to quit his job. I think it's a wonderful movie. If you've seen Mary Poppins Returns, you can like that. If you haven't seen the original, go back and watch the original. It's incredible. So it would have been a yes.
Yeah, it would have been a definite yes for me as well. Like, I don't know what more I can say about Mary Poppins that hasn't already been said, but it's just one of those ones, and it's number 1 on my own personal Disney live action list, so it's an easy yes for me. And Manning Frank says in the chat that he likes this Andrew guy, so
Hi, Manning.
So Cameron, what is your next nomination?
All right, I'm gonna start with my number 1 from my personal list, and one of my top 15 favorite films of all time. I'm going with 2003's Holes. I think it's a fantastic amazing, family drama for half of it. That's like super lighthearted and great. It's got an amazing story, but then you also have the flashback. It's a Western with Patricia Arquette. That's like a phenomenal, like heartbreaking, very cool story. And then you also have all the mythology behind like their family and why it's cursed, starring Eartha Kitt. And just all in all, I love it. I think it's great. Shia LaBeouf gives an amazing performance as Stanley Yelnats IV. Just overall, one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love it. Holes. Please don't hurt me.
Doug, what do you say about Holes?
I'm just gonna say this. Spell cat. No, that's not the right line. That's not the right line. Spell dig. That's what it is. Because cat's the first one that he learns. And then he just hits him. It's great. I think this was, as a personal fan of the book, I love that book. I read that book in 6th grade. I'm not going to show my age. I read that book in 6th grade. And when the movie was getting adapted, I was nervous because, as everybody knows, when books are adapted, they're not as good. And I thought this movie gave a lot of heart to the book. And it gave a lot more people eyes on something that a lot of people didn't read. Because a lot of people didn't know it was a book until the movie came out. Yeah, so it's a yes for me.
Matt, what do you say about Holes?
I fucking knew you were coming to me because this is a tough one. This was a real loop on Disney Channel when I was growing up in the early 2000s. This was a usual Friday, Saturday night movie when the kid would do the splits of the film reel, and you'd be like, "Oh, shit's going down tonight." I'm sorry. Any chance I get to talk about that kid, I will talk. I want to meet that kid and interview him on Take 3. I'm gonna. All right. Cameron brought it up early, so I'm gonna say yes. If it was later on, maybe not. But I'm gonna say yes because I think this is a really, really great movie. I think the stuff in the past with Gus, if I'm not wrong, Gus from Psych is the lover of the cowgirl, and it's the reason why he gets shot and killed. Shia LaBeouf is really good in this too, and for being really young and having, at this point, I think he probably only would have done like Even Stevens. My favorite actress, Sigourney Weaver, is in this. She kills it. Yeah, it's a really great movie. So yeah, I'll say yes.
I can fix that.
With that, Holes does make the list. But for me, I've got many holes in the movies I haven't seen in Disney or live action. Holes is one of them. But so I wouldn't be able to say yes. But Andrew, what would you have said about Holes?
This one just made my list for 3 reasons: Sigourney Weaver, John Voight, Tim Blake Nelson.
Oh, John
Honestly,
Voight.
if it wasn't for the 3 of them, this movie maybe would have missed my list. But the 3 of them make this movie, and Henry Winkler kind of does too. But yeah, I would have said yes.
Tim Blake Nelson's so good in this movie.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Yes.
Ain't the
He's
Girl Scout selling cookies.
Tim Blake Nelson is a national treasure.
Anyway, Doug, we come to you. What is the first movie you're going to nominate?
Doug, you know what you need to nominate now.
Listen,
I
I
just said it,
I know
Doug. I
what
just said it.
I
Said
know what
it.
I want. I know what I want to nominate. I know what I want to nominate.
Do it.
But what I am going to nominate is something because I feel that we need to recognize movies outside of Mary Poppins in the older era. Something that has probably affected every animal owner in the world if they've ever seen this movie. It's something that breaks your heart at the end of the movie, but you still go back to watch it because you love how good this is. My nomination is Old Yeller. This movie literally tears you to shreds at the end of the movie, but it's something that you go back to and watch because it teaches you lessons. It teaches you how to be responsible for something that is yours and how, regardless of what happens at the end, it needs to happen. And Disney is very much along the lines of teaching you very valuable lessons, whether you know it or not. Mary Poppins teaches you the lessons of keeping your imagination alive, understanding that people are responsible. Holes teaches you the ability to of a good friendship and a promise. The promise doesn't get broken until the promise gets kept at the end of the movie. Keeping your promise, keeping your word is a thing that's a very staple in Holes. Old Yeller is something that I feel you have to be responsible. You have to understand your responsibilities in this world, even as a child. That's why I'm putting Old Yeller. Yeah, it's a heartbreak, but I think it's something that's well deserving to be put on this list.
Old Yeller is on the table. Matt, what do you say about Old Yeller?
I've never seen Old Yeller. Ever. I know about the ending. Thanks for the spoilers, people. Come on, movie from like the 1900s. But yeah, no. So based entirely on that, even though Doug, I love how you're trying to pull at the heartstrings. I can't vote yes on a movie I've never seen.
I also haven't seen Old Yeller, sadly. Andrew, what do you say about Old Yeller?
Thanks, guys. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I have seen it. This one hurts because this is one of the ones that I was hoping no one would bring up because it like just teeters for me. Because that ending is super powerful.
It's all right. Everybody will just think that you
yeah,
guys
I'm gonna
hate
say
dogs.
no. I'm gonna say no. The problem is I don't remember a lot of it other than the ending. So because of that, I have to say no, and I hate to say that.
Cameron, what is the first movie you're going to nominate?
I've already nominated something.
What is
You
about
also
Old Yeller?
I was gonna say.
I would have leaned no as well. I pretty much exactly echo what Andrew was saying, where I think that the ending of that movie is incredible and is very powerful, but the rest of that movie just can't really live up to that ending, and because of that, I don't remember it super well. and so I gotta say no.
Matt, what is the first movie you're going to nominate?
First movie I'm gonna nominate. It's got a wonderful, wonderful song. It's south on many people's list, but hey, zippity zippity. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh, thank God.
Not gonna do that.
Oh no, no.
I was like, there's a chance to make me think. The first movie I'm gonna nominate. If it doesn't get on the list, I'll totally understand. But it's one of my favorite films of all time. I'm going with Tron from 1982. I think Tron is a brilliant movie that didn't work in its time because most people didn't own computers and didn't understand the lingo. Nowadays, it's gotten better because we all have phones and tablets and everything. But it still is a really great adventure film. Jeff Bridges, I think, is a great lead in the movie. The score, I love the synth score. It's fantastic, and it's a movie that gets better and better. And also, it tackles a subject that Disney doesn't usually like to tackle, which is religion, because there's this battle of in the computer world of are the users real, fighting for the users, or are they not real? And this whole interesting debate, and it's just a wonderful movie. It's also beautifully shot. If you haven't seen it on Blu-ray, I suggest go and rent or pick up the Blu-ray because it looks amazing. So Tron, 1982 is my first nomination.
Tron is on the table. I'm going to give it a slight no. I mean, I do like the movie. When I was making my list, I was surprised at how low it ended up getting. I mean, it's still above Tron Legacy, but yeah, it's a slight no for me. But Andrew, what do you say about Tron?
It's one I was considering. And you're right. It tackles a subject that is not normally tackled by Disney, which I really admire. But I personally don't think that half of the effects do hold up. But you know what? Screw it. I'll say yes.
Yeah.
Cameron, what do you say about Tron?
It's been a while since I've seen this movie. I'm gonna very slightly lean no, just because it's been a long time since I've seen it and I totally remember it super well. So that's really all I can speak on of it. I know I've seen it just a long time.
Doug, it's down to you. What do you say about Tron?
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Thanks. You all hated dogs. So
He's just like, all right, Matt, it's time to take you outside.
No, but I seriously I do love Tron. I love Jeff Bridges in Tron. I think it's an incredible role for him. However, do I think it's top 12 live Disney? For me, that is a slight no. Not that I don't, like I said, not that I don't love that movie. I do love that movie. I own it on Blu-ray. Do I think it's top 12 Disney? That's the question. I've been a little bit too light with my yeses the last couple times that I've been on the show, and I understand trying to focus a little bit more on. We need to focus on the top 12. So that's the only reason I can't give it to Tron.
What the hell? To all the people on the past shows with Doug, why'd you be so hard on him? You were giving yes to Tron. Thanks. I knew it was. That's why I nominated so early. But I'm not mad. I will be later, but not now.
It's all right. I mean, wait until you hear my next one, and it's okay.
So it's back to me for my first nomination. I'm going to go for one of my favorite biopics that Disney has made, and I'm going to go for Saving Mr. Banks. Tom, this is one that I didn't expect to ever see being made. Like, we've seen a lot of biopics like about the person, but we've never seen ones that's focusing solely on the making of a movie. And to see everything that went into the making of Mary Poppins, and the way that Walt managed to get a hold of it. It's a really interesting story, and one that I didn't expect Disney would ever show. So the fact that there was them that made it, and it was a really enjoyable movie. Because Emma Thompson and Tom Hanks really killed it in the roles, and it was just an interesting movie. But yeah, and Colin Farrell, I believe, was also in this. When I'm pretty sure he wasn't actually announced in the trailers. So, Andrew, what do you say about Saving Mr. Banks?
Okay. To anyone right now who's screaming no because it's a Disneyfied version of what happened in real life, I don't care. This is such a good story. It's well written, well directed, beautifully shot. Everyone, Tom Hanks, Jason Schwartzman, BJ Novak, Paul Giamatti, are all fantastic. And Emma Thompson was robbed of an Oscar nomination. She should have won that year. This is a hard yes from me. I love this movie.
Cameron, what do you say about Saving Mr. Banks?
All the stuff that went into making Mary Poppins was very good, and I really liked it in a movie called Mary Poppins. I didn't love this movie. I personally, when I watched it, I was kind of bored by it, is the best way to describe it. Like, I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry. I didn't enjoy it. I watched it when I was like 13 and wasn't super into movies and just haven't seen it since. And so, unfortunately, it's going to be a no for me.
Who hurt you?
Doug, what do you
Everyone I
say?
went to high school with, Andrew, but thank you.
So, this was actually on my list. It was a later pick that I was going to bring up. I really enjoy this. My favorite scene in that movie is when they're writing the music together with her. And they're just showing her a song. And she instantly is like, what? No. It's a great scene. Yeah, it's a yes for me.
And with that, Saving Mr. Banks makes the list. Matt, what would you have said?
Well, first I'll say, so I guess you'll say we saved Saving Mr. Banks. I'll be here all week. Well, to all the people who say that this is a Disneyfied version of history, some famous person once said it, I'll echo it here, history is written by the winners. Walt Disney got to make the movie, so yeah. This was the movie that I alluded to that made my list over Mary Poppins. I think this movie is beautiful. Music, the way the film is shot, and I think the two scenes that make it on my top 12, and that I'm glad it's on this, are the scene when I forget which song they're doing the bank song, and she's flashing back to when her father was drunk at the festival and then falls and like breaks his back, and the scene when Walt comes to Europe and talks to her about how he used to deliver like papers in the snow and how like he loves Mickey and he wouldn't want to like give it up to anyone or anything. This movie's amazing, and I'll mention Colin Farrell. I think he should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I think what he did in that film was incredible, and I think the movie's wonderful, so I would have given him a hell yes.
And Andrew, it goes back round to you. What's your next nomination?
That's a good question. Which one do I pick? Options. Let's go with. Yeah, let's do this one. One of the best sports biopics ever made. That would be Remember the Titans. Remember the Titans is such a great movie. This is one of my favorite Denzel Washington performances. The cast in this is phenomenal. The camaraderie that you see build within the team, it's so natural and well delivered. It's hard not to love this movie. I'm going with Remember the Titans.
I mean, this is clearly a lot of Schmodown Stars' favorite movie as well.
Why can nobody remember the Titans?
Kevin, what do you say about Remember the Titans?
Remember the Titans was one of the first movies that I wrote down when I went to make this list. I actually just watched this for the first time earlier this year because it was on the list of movies for round 3 of Full Metal Trivia. And I watched it, and it's fantastic. The performances from the cast all around are great. A lot of people would single out Denzel Washington. Personally, my favorite performance in that movie is Ethan Suplee. I think just he brings so much joy to that movie and is such a fun character. So yes, absolutely.
Yay, Denzel Washington! Yay!
Yay!
Doug, what do you say about Remember the Titans?
First movie I put on my list. This is 3. All right, just let me just paint the scene for you. My son needs you to be strong. Carol, are you blind? He's my brother. And we are the Titans, the mighty, mighty Titans. I love this movie. I remember watching this in football camp. I remember crying with a bunch of football players twice. So when people tell you football players don't cry, don't let them lie to you. It's by far one of my favorite sports biopics of all time. It's so heartfelt. It happens during an era of our history which if we could, we would try to erase. And it just shows you that you can come together if you have the ability to look past someone's skin. So it's yes.
Matt, Remember the Titans is on the list. What would you have said?
I think Remember the Titans is a really good movie. I would have said no, just based on the fact that there's another Disney sports biopic that I think should be on the list over it. But I'm fine that it's on the list. I think a person we haven't talked about who's great in that movie is Will Patton. I think Will Patton is great in the movie. I think he works off Denzel really, really well, which, like, Denzel is an actor who can, like, easily take over a film, so the fact that Will Patton is able to kind of stand with him, I think is great. But, yeah. No.
Yeah, Remember the Titans is a movie I've never seen. I just haven't got around to it, so, yeah.
Malcolm, I'm gonna mail you a copy. I'm just gonna mail you a copy and be like, "You gotta watch it now."
It won't work.
But anyway, Cameron, it's back to you for your next nomination.
All right. So I name dropped a movie earlier by accident, and I'm not gonna bring it up now. Me and Matt were cheering for Doug to do it. Doug didn't do it, so now I'm not going to do it. Instead, I'm going to bring up the second movie that I wrote down when I was making this list. It's a film that I grew up with, released in 2005, and I have loved it ever since. It's based on the second best novel from one of my favorite book series of all time. I'm about The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I absolutely love this movie. This movie is incredible. They adapt the book so well. The effects in it are amazing. The costume design in it is amazing. It won one or maybe 2 Oscars. I can't totally remember. The score is absolutely incredible. Just everything about it is fantastic. The casting is amazing. James McAvoy is Mr. Tumnus. Liam Neeson is Aslan. Tilda Swinton as the White Witch is one of the greatest pieces of casting in any literary adaptation I've ever seen. I absolutely love Narnia. Please.
Why don't you go move there if you love it so much?
Doug, What do you say about Lion Witch in the Wardrobe?
I'm gonna just simply. I've been talking a lot, so I'm just simply say Liam Neeson's God in this movie. So he represents God or Jesus, whichever way you look at it. And yeah, so it's a yes for me. So any movie that can put Liam Neeson in the God or Jesus role, I'm okay with.
Matt, what do you say about Lion Witch in the Wardrobe?
I grew up with this movie as well. I remember seeing it in theaters and loving it. I'm going to say no because there's another movie in this world that I have on my list over Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. But
Matt, I have it too. Just put them both on.
But I mean, it's making the list because I'm saying yes to Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, and not because it was filmed in New Zealand. But
why do you okay? Now
Baller
you
Net.
do this shit all the time. If it's not why do you need to mention it every time?
but
Oh look, he's dodging the question. Okay, well we.
But anyway, this is a great movie. It's by far the best in the Narnia ones. Like this, sequels are okay at best.
Whoa.
One of the sequels is very mediocre. The other one is
Sorry, one of the sequels doesn't
more
even
than
count
this
for
one.
the
Great.
twist.
But anyway, Andrew, what would you have said about Lion Witch in the Wardrobe?
Man, I'm honestly not sure. Because it is one that I considered. It is one on my overall list. It probably, if it wasn't an honorable mention, it would have made number 12. I personally like other ones better. I probably would have said no.
Anyway, it's back to Doug for your next nomination.
All right, so can I get a raise of hands real quick? How many people on the chat right here were considered a little bit overweight in, elementary, high school, middle
Yesterday.
school, yesterday, today? I want to pitch for the list. I want to pitch the first body positive. It didn't seem it at the time. First body positive movie that Disney put out. A lot of people didn't realize that it was a Disney movie at times, but if you look close enough, it is. And I'm gonna put up heavyweights. I think this movie epitomized what it was okay to be okay with who you were. You got kids who were on the bigger side, and yes, they poked fun of them at times, but it still left an empowering message when they won the rally at the end of the film. When you have a crazy Ben Stiller trying to make these kids lose weight, and they're just trying to find ways to, not just enjoy their summer. The opening scene where you're trying to send me to fat camp. It's a great scene. I mean, the scene where they're pulling back the sausages off the skin and plugging it in the bunk holds, it's great. I think it's a comedic movie that had very, very positive body positive messages throughout it. It was very heartfelt. All the kid wanted to do was drive go-karts this summer. And he finally got to.
Anyway, heavyweights is on the table. Matt, what do you say about heavyweights?
I think it's a good division of boxing. It might not be my favorite. I mean, Rocky was the champ in that division, but certainly we're okay. I have seen part of this movie in like 2006 when it was 2 a.m. and I was channel surfing, and I was like, because I saw like a crazy Ben Stiller like with exercise. I was like, oh, is this dodgeball? And then I was like, oh no, it's not dodgeball. So I've technically seen this movie, but I'm not really. So I have to give it a no based solely on the fact that I don't know what this movie is.
Yeah,
but I got to ride go-karts.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a lot of gifs from this movie. I haven't seen the movie. Andrew, what do you say about heavyweights?
Gosh darn it, you guys.
Every time.
Hold on. Okay, there's 7 spots left. that we need to fill. There are personally for me, 7 movies that I would put above it. However, considering that there's one movie that's similar to another one already on our list, and 2 other movies that I'm considering that are similar to each other, and I love Ben Stiller in this. Yeah, screw it. I'll say yes.
Oh my god.
Cameron, what do you say about Heavyweights?
I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I have seen this movie, watched it in junior high with a bunch of friends, like group of probably 10 to 12 like junior high guys, like 7th grade, all hanging out at one guy's house. And it is on my personal list, but I've got like 10 movies above it, and I think a decent amount of them have a good shot at making this list. So I gotta give it a very slight no. I'm sorry, Doug.
I do want to see the movie based on Doug and Andrew's reaction to it on this list.
Imagine family-friendly Ben Stiller from Dodgeball.
Yes.
Yes.
Doesn't sound that fun.
Lunch is canceled due to lack of hustle.
Yeah.
Trying to
Well,
film
okay.
an infomercial.
But anyway, Matt, what is your next nomination?
Okay, so my next nomination I would consider to be a treasure, but not just any treasure, a national treasure. That would, of course, be 1990's The Rocketeer. One of my favorite comic book movies of all time. I think this movie is incredibly close to the comics. It's a different kind of comic book movie. It's not very like, a giant like souped up dude with like a 20-pack. It's about a guy who kind of falls into being a superhero. But I think the cast is incredible. Timothy Dalton as the villain is so old school villainy, but that's the fun thing about this movie is that it's exists in that Dick Tracy era, which if you're asking why I'm not nominating Dick Tracy, is because it's not a Disney movie technically. But exists in that era of just like movies that they don't make anymore. And I think it's one of the best. So The Rocketeer, my next nomination. I'm really afraid that we're just gonna like not nominate National Treasure because we made too many jokes about it. But Rocketeer is my nomination.
I've not seen Rocketeer.
I knew you, motherfucker.
I saw it on Sky the other day. I thought I might watch this, and I just ran out of time to actually watch it. So, Andrew, what do you say about The Rocketeer?
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I mean, Jennifer Connelly, Timothy Dalton, Alan Arkin.
Remember the
Can you
casting
name
was
who played the? Can you name who played the Rocketeer? No, because
does that
he
matter?
was kind of boring when he wasn't the Rocketeer.
Doesn't matter.
But he's the main character.
Wait, if you couldn't name who Mark Hamill was as an actor and he was just Luke Skywalker, would Star Wars not be a good movie? If you're just like, oh, Luke Skywalker, like if you don't need to know all the actors, you just need to know the characters that they played in the movie. Ain't a biopic. It's a movie.
Because this is one I was considering, but I can't, in all honesty, because the main character, I just cannot remember anything about him aside from when he has the outfit on.
Well, that's a shame.
Cameron, what do you say about The Rocketeer?
So I made some time yesterday to go back and either rewatch some movies that I hadn't seen in a long time, or to watch movies from this that I had never seen before. Rocketeer was one that before yesterday I had never seen before, and today I still haven't seen it. It's a no.
Now that's how you build up, folks.
And with that, the Rocketeer
I'm
doesn't make the
sorry.
list. Doug, what would you have
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Yeah.
Can I
That's
plead the
moms
fifth?
for mad.
Can I plead the fifth on this one? No. I remember the Rocketeer from being a kid. I saw it when it first came out in theaters, and I liked it and didn't like it. So that is why that's a no for me. The action pieces were cool, but the story wasn't. Like,
With that, the Rocketeer doesn't make the list.
We've just pissed off so many people.
Mainly Star Drew, apparently. But anyway, the next movie I'm going to nominate, and somewhere in the middle of America, Caleb Coho screaming Hawaii that's finally being brought up. I'm going to bring up Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This is by far the best movie in this franchise, and it brought a character that before then I don't know if he was involved in the ride initially, but it's brought Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. And a lot of people said it's probably his best movie role, which I slightly disagree with that, but I do think it's up there. But yeah, it's a great movie. The cast is awesome. Like you got Orlando Bloom, you've got Keira Knightley, you've got a few other people that are just blanking on their names at the moment, but
Jeffrey Rush.
Jeffrey Rush that's the one. I was about to say
Bull.
I was about to say Bull Knight. Then I realised he was in the sequel ones, but and I think Zoe Saldana was in the sequels, not the first one.
No, she's in the first one.
Sure, the first one.
She's the one that owns the boat that Jack uses to chase after the Black Pearl.
Oh, okay. I thought she played a different character, but never mind. But before I embarrass myself even more, Andrew, what do you say about Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl?
I don't love this movie. I like it. I do like this movie. I think it's a good movie. Is it one of Johnny Depp's best performances? No, it's not. But considering what I said about some movies on my list being similar to each other, I'll say yes.
Cameron, what do you say about Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl?
So I fully agree with Andrew. This is in no way Johnny Depp's best performance. In my personal opinion, it's Sweeney Todd. But yeah, no, this movie's great. I made a personal deal to myself that I would only put one Pirates of the Caribbean movie on this list, and it was whichever one got brought up first, either one or two, and one got brought up first, so I'll give it a yes.
Doug, what would you have said about Curse of the Black Pearl?
Yeah, Curse of the Black Pearl is my favorite of the entire series. It's the best one that's made. I think Jack Sparrow's performance, while not his best performance, it definitely gives you something to hold on to through the entire series. I think he adds a levity to the character. I actually think Orlando Bloom's my favorite character performance in the whole movie. So,
and Matt, what would you have said about Curse of the Black Pearl?
Saying it's the best of all the Pirates movies is like it's true, but it's also like, I mean, look at its competition. I mean, Javier Bardem is a weird thing. Who am I getting? I never saw that movie. It's good. I think there's another film that falls into a similar category of adventure that I think is superior to this movie that hopefully I'll be able to bring up. I would have given it a slight yes, but it was weird. For as much as I really do enjoy this movie, I really love it. It's weird how low it actually made it on my list. Like I was really surprised. I was like, wow. But yeah, no, it's good. It has a spot.
And go back to Andrew for his next nomination.
All right, time for my first nomination that I don't think is a lock. We were mentioning some of the performers in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. There was one that we were missing, and that's Jonathan Pryce. And Jonathan Pryce's best performance in a Disney movie is from Something Wicked This Way Comes. This is from a Ray Bradbury book. It is a very eerie, spooky movie about an evil circus that actually steals like the souls and the youth from the people around in the town, and these two kids have to find and stop him. And Jonathan Pryce is just amazing as Mr. Dark in this movie. And the story itself is fantastic. The visuals are great for being from 1983. Something Wicked This Way Comes. It is great and deserves to be on this list.
Cameron, what do you say about Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Well, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and that wicked thing is me saying, no, I have not seen this movie. Sorry, Andrew.
Doug, what do you say about Something Wicked This Way Comes?
So I want to congratulate Andrew on finding a Disney movie that I haven't seen.
Matt, what do you say about Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Andrew, I'd like you, so because of that, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I literally never knew this movie existed until you brought it up. So that's a no.
I figured this would happen. I just wanted to get that movie out there because it's amazing.
I think this is the first time we've had one that our movie someone's brought up that no one has seen, because I've not seen it either.
I know about it. Like, I can tell you the general plot idea of it, but I've never
This
seen it.
isn't the one with Sean Connery.
I mean, based on the plot, is one that I'm probably going to hunt out and actually watch.
Let me make a self-correction real quick. It's not the youth that it's stolen, but it's like just their energies.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Malcolm, you're going to see this before Rocketeer, I assume, just to piss me off, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Mm.
Before
I'm sure
I-
we'll have to do your rental store.
But Cameron, what's your next nomination?
That's a great question, Malcolm. Because I've got a couple that I'm looking at. I've got one that I know for sure someone else will bring up at some point. I've got one I'm probably going to save until the next round when we're running very low and I make a Hail Mary of something I loved as a kid. I'm going to go with yet another book adaptation. This one is from 2007. Great fantasy film. Absolutely heartbreaking and devastating at points to watch. And that movie is Bridge to Terabithia. Bridge to Terabithia is absolutely incredible. Anna Sophia Robb is so charming in that movie, and just the way that they managed to hit you when her character, spoiler alert, when her character dies, and just the way that Josh Hutcherson is able to act in reaction to this and the things that happen with him, and the way that changes who his character is as well. I think it's Robert Patrick plays Josh Hutcherson's dad, and the relationship between them that grows is absolutely fantastic. I think it's an incredible movie, Bridge to Terabithia. I'm smiling like he hasn't seen it. I don't like that.
Doug, what do you say about Bridge to Terabithia?
Maybe next time you should ask her to come too. That line hits Zooey Deschanel right in the chest. Because he blames her. This movie, I remember watching the PBS version of this movie. So again, showing my age, I'm really old. But no, yeah, 6 left.
Yeah, 6 left.
I'll give it a yes.
Matt, what do you say about the Bridge to River Affair?
I think there's a really, really fantastic scene in this movie. After the girl dies, whose name I can't remember. The character's name. Yeah, exactly. Which is when Josh Hutcherson's running in the woods and the like black hooded creatures chasing him, and then turns out to be Robert Patrick confronted. I think that's a really great scene. I think that's a really amazing use of the whole, imaginary world versus reality. However, I think the entire movie does not live up to that one moment. It just, to me, when I watched it as a kid, I kind of got bored by it. And then when I revisited it later on, I was like, again, I think that one scene, that's why I bring it up. It's a really wonderful scene. It's just the whole movie. I was like, it's a little bit, I think because her family and like her whole thing, she's too perfect. She doesn't feel like a real kid. Like she's a little bit too like a double mint gum commercial kid. Like she's too perfect for my taste, to where like Josh Hutcherson and his family feels real. I mean, this movie literally, I will give this movie credit. I'll give this movie credit for having a little girl say "God damns you to hell." I'll give it that. They got a little girl in the back of a pickup to say "God damns you to hell." So I mean, points there, but I have to give it a no.
Yeah, I just haven't seen the Bridge to River Affair. I've seen the Golden Gate Bridge. I've seen the Sydney Harbour Bridge, but not the Bridge to River Affair.
Dang it!
But Andrew, it's still on you.
I've never seen this movie all the way through. I've seen parts of it. I really was not impressed with what I had seen, to be completely honest. So, with all good conscience, because I haven't seen it all the way through, I cannot say yes. Sorry, dude, but
It's so
Doug, it's down to you for your next nomination.
All right, guys. Let's see if we can turn this around for me and get something on the list. Other stuff from my list have been
Don't
added.
you literally already have movies on the list?
I have pretty much all the movies on the list.
That's what I said.
I wanted, but I have no. I don't have any movies actually that I picked out on.
no,
the
he
list.
doesn't.
But okay. I do have movies that are on my list that made the list. I'm hoping that we can all. I'm gonna pick out another one and hope that maybe this one goes over a little bit better. And this one, I remember sitting down watching the movie for the first time and seeing this kid ride a giant bee. If that's not a big enough hint, sorry. It has Rick Moranis. It's an amazing movie. It's an amazing movie that had an amazing sequel, a not so great series on Disney. But I'm going with Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I think it's an incredible comedy. I think this was Rick Moranis at his height, playing a zany scientist who works on this shrink ray, and his kids are playing, and it just shrinks them. And the scene where they almost get eaten in the cereal is so amazing. Not to mention they have a Universal ride where they shrink you and or a Disney ride and they shrink you and they bite your feet. Yeah, no, that's side point. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Let's go, guys. Get it on the list. It deserves to be there.
Matt, what do you say about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
I mean, I guess the only thing I could say is that the list spots are going to be shrinking because Honey, I Shrunk the Kids gets a hell yes. I think this movie is amazing. This is one of those movies that when I was making my list was just like, where's this going to place? Like, I knew it was on my list, but it was just where. I think, one, the concept is great. Two, the sets they build look really, really good for 1989 standards for a Disney live action movie. And I think there are a lot of small moments that people overlook that I think are really good. Like there's a great moment when it's Russ and the kids, they come across Russ's dad's cigarette, and it's like, he said he'd stop smoking, and the way Russ delivers is like he only does it when he's really nervous, and then they cut to the dad smoking, and you're just like, because seeing that relationship that he's had with Russ in the beginning of the film when he finds out he left the football team and all this, to be like, oh, he does really care about his kids and all this. And then it's just a great adventure movie. It's a really interesting concept, and yeah, I love the movie. So it's a yes.
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate you, Doug, on finally getting something on the list. I'm saying yes to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I really think this is a great movie, and it's definitely Rick Moranis at the peak. It's just made it on my. It's only just on my personal top 12 list, but it's enough for me to say yes to it. So, Andrew, what would you have said about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
It's been a long, long time since I've seen it. However, I do remember a lot of the movie making itself, in the sense of like the set design and the effects and the acting and things like that. Yeah, I would have said yes. I would have said yes. It would not have made my original list, but some things got knocked off that would have bumped it up.
Yeah.
And Cameron, what would you have said about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
I know I've seen this movie. I know I have. I was very young, and I don't remember it very well, so it would have been a no.
I know.
love
Hey, at least this time, everyone's seen the movie. At least this time, I got a movie that everyone's seen. I'm just proud of that moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, Matt, what is your next nomination?
How many spots do we have left?
Five.
5.
5.
Because there's.
And I think now might be the time to do the obvious choice.
I know it might be, but there's another one I wanted to bring up. Oh god, I really hope we get that obvious one that we all know should be on here. But I'm gonna bring up this one anyway. Please God, someone bring up the obvious choice. I'm not bringing it up now. So remember when we were talking about Remember the Titans? It was an Ever Sports biopic that I would have given the spot to. This is what I'm bringing up. 2004's Gavin O'Connor's Miracle. I think Miracle is an incredible sports movie that is talking about a really interesting time in the world, and particularly for America and Russia, and how this whole Cold War and everything was put in stock on this, not even a medal game, just an Olympic game between the U.S. and Russia. And the U.S. team was made up of these two rival schools that hated each other. And it's the story of the coach, Herb Brooks, and how he kind of had to bring these kids together and bring this team together and lead them to a victory against the unbeatable team. I think Kurt Russell is incredible in this. I think the cast, all the players are great. If you don't get man tears when Ralph Cox gets cut, you probably don't have a heart, because when he says, "Just give me a shot, coach," like, come on, man. And yeah, it's just and also the score is incredible, and it's just a wonderful, beautiful movie. So Miracle.
I mean, Matt knows what I'm going to say, because we've talked about
Yes.
we've talked about Kurt Russell movies, and we've talked about how I haven't seen a lot of them. This is one I've not seen. Andrew, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
Miracle. Not Cool Running.
Miracle is what I was
Okay.
talking.
I will find.
I know. So okay, I like Remember the Titans better. This is essentially Remember the Titans, just with hockey and the Olympics. it's been a while since I've seen it. I remember really liking Kurt Russell in this. I think this might be one of his better performances.
I don't like that tone, but continue.
I will say, however, when it came to off the top of my head, there was only a few movies that I could remember live action Disney wise. And Miracle was one of them. So I will say yes.
Cameron, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
It's not Cool Runnings.
One day, I'm going to be in New Zealand, Malcolm. And there ain't going to be no Aragon or no Peter Jackson. It's going to be Boromir. Think about that.
So, this was not the other sports biopic I thought was gonna get brought up. I have a different sports biopic on my list. I also have with Kurt Russell in it on my list. And then I have another sports movie that is in no way a biopic and will not make this list.
We'll see about that.
We'll see. So I gotta go no. I've got a lot of stuff above it, and I've got a lot of other movies that fit into similar categories that I have higher.
You can never have too many Kurt Russell movies on that list, is what I'll say.
So was that a yes, Cameron?
No, that's
yes,
enough.
He said yes.
It's a
Yeah,
no.
I didn't quite catch that. But Doug, what do you say about the movie?
Some deciding factor yet again. I love it. But this movie
Don't
has this movie has that's so wrong. This movie has this movie has a lot of remarkable scenes in it, and it was a really big part in our history. We were going through some really damaging times in our history, and it gave us the ability to hope. And one thing Disney is known for is hope. So Matt, it's a miracle, but Miracle's on the list.
Oh my God, Malcolm! This might be the first time ever on Rankum, but my number one actually made a list.
All the Americans said yes.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, the one non-American. Well, hey,
I'm Canadian.
see, even Drago, how you doing over there, Cameron? Bet you rooted for Drago Free too.
I'm doing great. Hey.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fucking Canadian.
It's a hockey movie. I thought the Canadian would have definitely voted for it.
You know what? No, actually, he must be one of the lacrosse Canadians.
No, I'm one of those Canadians who just, for the most part, doesn't care about sports in general. Except for two other sports movies that aren't Miracle.
Doesn't matter, made the list.
But anyway, now we're back to my next nomination, which in my stuff up, I accidentally spoiled.
Cool guy, that Kurt's nominated a Kurt Russell movie. I'm shocked.
But anyway, for my next nomination, I'm just going to say this: feel the rhythm, feel the rhyme, get on up. It's bobsledding time. I'm actually nominating Cool Runnings because clearly it's on my mind, but that and I do think it's a good movie. Like it's got with John Candy's performance and like all the crew. This is just a great movie, and it's one of those ones which in which I do think is good. And it's been a while since I've actually seen it, but it's one that I do think belongs on this list. Andrew, what do you say about Cool Runnings this time? It is actually about Cool Runnings.
I know I've seen it. I can't remember a lot of it. So, to be completely fair, I cannot say yes. I have to say no.
Cameron, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
You know, it's funny how things kind of work out. Because Cool Runnings was also not the sports biopic I was talking about.
I think I know which one then.
You might. The interesting thing is, if Miracle hadn't made this list, I probably would have said yes to this. But y'all picked the hockey movie over the fun Jamaican bobsled movie. So, no. I have seen this one. It's fun, but truly the rest of my list is running on stuff I really love that I think is truly fantastic or nostalgia picks, and I need to ride or die with those than movies that I think are good but not fantastic.
Doug, what do you say about Cool Runnings?
Hey Malcolm, what if I told you that Cool Runnings was one of my favorite movies of all time when I was a kid? And a Jamaican bobsled team that goes on in the Olympics to basically just change the world. Yeah, it's a definite yes. I don't care how many sports biopics that we put up. If it's a good movie and I think it deserves to be on the list, I'm going to do it. I definitely enjoy this movie. John Candy's performance is ridiculously good. It's one of the last ones that we get of him. So, in honor of that, I will definitely say yes also.
Yeah, and sadly it doesn't make the list because Matt said in the Hangouts chat that he's getting revenge on me for not seeing Miracle and he hasn't seen Cool Runnings.
Yeah, you know what they say, great moments are born from great opportunity. Oh wait, that's something you've never seen.
But anyway, what's your next nomination, Andrew?
This is where my list has really dwindled down.
Just do
Go with
the one
either of
we
the
all know
sports
should
movies,
be on the
Andrew.
list.
Go with either of the sports movies.
No, Andrew, go with the one that we've all made jokes about, but really needs to be on this list.
I'll save that for
I'll be
someone
quite
else,
honest.
I think.
I'm not going to be the one who does it. So,
Fuck, how many more
Okay.
spots do we have?
Here's
I think we have 4.
4, I
Oh,
believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Four.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Four.
Yeah, 4. So, okay, here's the thing, Cameron. I'm going to leave the other sports biopic to you.
Okay.
Because there's one that I want to talk about. I don't necessarily believe it will make it, but I want to propose it anyway. Because this is my second favorite Christmas movie, mainly because of nostalgia purposes.
Tell
And
me
it's
you're
not
doing
what
it.
you think it is.
I
I'm
think
going with The Muppet Christmas Carol.
You are.
Oh.
I love The Muppet
are.
Christmas Carol.
You
It's not
are.
my favorite Muppet movie, but it's definitely one of them. And I remember all of the songs. I remember all of them. We're Marley and Marley. This is one of my favorite versions of A Christmas Carol. I don't care what anyone says. Let's propose it. Muppet Christmas Carol.
Cameron, what do you say about Muppets Christmas Carol?
Just move on. Just
Boo!
move on. Go away.
Boo!
I'm sorry. I don't really love the story of A Christmas Carol.
Doug, what do you say about Muppets Christmas Carol?
Sounds like somebody needs some ghosts to visit him.
Now I'm going to live up in my cave near Whoville with my dog.
Listen, there are literally only 2 Muppet movies that were brought out by Disney. There's only 2 Muppet movies. Leave me alone. 2 Muppet movies. There's 2.
4.
Muppets,
There's at
Muppets
least
Most
3 if
Wanted.
this counts. If this counts, there's at
there
least
is Muppet.
3.
Oh wait, Muppets Most Wanted and Muppets. I forgot about those 2.
Yeah.
And
We don't
both
need to
those
talk about those.
don't count because they're not real Muppets. So
It's not wrong.
this is a complete and utter yes. It is my second favorite Christmas Carol telling, next to Patrick Stewart's. I fell in love with this movie. I can watch this movie outside of Christmas, because I love just the Muppets in general, and it just gives you this fun. The second spirit is like the best spirit because he's basically Santa Claus, and he's just super jolly, and he loves life, and yeah, so it's a yes.
Matt, what do you say about the Muppets Christmas Carol?
All I'll say is, I love the Muppets. I love Christmas. I love the story of A Christmas Carol. I do not love the Muppets and Christmas and A Christmas Carol all rolled into one. I think this movie is good. It's certainly better than other entries in the Muppets extended universe. I don't know what we call that. In the Muppets sphere of films, I think Michael Caine is good. I think the puppetry is good. It's not one of my favorites. So I'm gonna just have to give it a no. It's a well-made movie, but yeah, not the best Muppets.
I'm just going to get right down to it. This is not my favorite Muppets movie. It's a no for me.
Andrew, we tried. Andrew, we tried.
Hey, if you had picked the correct Muppets movie, maybe it would have made it on.
Well,
Yeah,
it might come up later.
Malcolm, I'm sorry, but correct Muppets movie doesn't count because it's not a Disney movie, technically.
Yeah, that is true.
Anyway.
Yeah, we got
Most
it.
Wanted is a Disney movie.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
Oh,
Cameron,
no.
what is your next nomination?
Muppets Most Wanted.
Cameron, bring up the other biopic. Bring up the
No,
other biopic.
Cameron, bring up the movie that we need to get on the list.
No, I refuse. It's not gonna be me.
Selfish bastard.
Hey,
I'm gonna say no to
So,
whatever you bring up to South Spot now.
I'm gonna give 4 like small descriptions, and I just want to say which of these 4 should I bring up without giving away? Should I bring up other sports biopic, non-biopic sports movie, the movie with Kurt Russell in it, or a movie that I saw on Halloween when I was 8 years old?
Kurt Russell.
The one
I
with
know
Kurt
the
Russell in
Halloween
it.
movie.
Fourth biopic.
The
Biopic.
one
Ah,
with
we're
Kurt
split.
Russell will guarantee it. Yes.
We have 4 spots left, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, screw it. No, I'm not gonna bring up the biopic because it's lower on my list than some reason.
Ah.
Mostly just because I have a thing that I want to say as a build up to this movie, even though it's not going to be a yes, but I'm going to do it anyways. So when we were talking about doing the show, there were a lot of rules. Like it had to be theatrically released, so we can't pick any Disney Channel original movies. There used to be saves, but that's not a thing on the show anymore.
Yeah.
But ain't no rule that says a dog can't play basketball.
Oh my god.
That's the one I thought you were going
Oh,
with.
no.
Oh no.
Oh,
When you
no.
said
Oh, no.
non-sports
Oh,
biopic,
no.
there was one I thought you were going.
This is not the sports biopic. This is the sports movie that is.
That's what I was saying. The non-sports biopic sports movie. This was not the one.
Not the one I thought you were going with. That's why I'm reacting that way.
Look. You cannot deny this film's success. It spawned a 17-film cinematic universe.
Yeah, Twilight got 3 sequels. Doesn't mean it was a good movie.
It got 4 sequels, Matt. It all Buddies movies, 2 Santa Paws movies, and the MVP and MXP 1 and 2 films. So, Air Bud.
Cameron, why do you
do
know
it.
all that offhand? That's my
My weird trivia thing is that I can name all of the films in the franchise by memory. While you guys discuss, I'm going to just start writing them down.
Get ready for a bunch of Air Bud questions on Full Metal Trivia.
Full Metal Random.
Oh my god.
Anyway, Doug, what do you say about Earbud?
That's a no. That's a definite no. No. No.
Look, I had to do it.
Matt, what do you say about Earbud?
It's gonna be a no from me, dog. I
Damn
I
it, you
think
stole my
Earbud
joke.
is- I think I knew someone was gonna do. I think Airbud is good. I'm gonna be honest. As a kid, I always liked Golden Receiver better. So that was the one I would watch. And thankfully,
Still going.
there weren't like any of these other like. I'm glad I was too old to see any of those fucking like little kid ones. That it's like, what the fuck are we doing, Disney? But yeah, it's a no. It's an okay movie, but it's not the best.
I remember loving Earbud when it first came out. Then I saw a whole bunch more Disney live action movies, and it pushed Earbud really far down. So it's a no from me. Andrew, what would you have said about Earbud?
It's the best movie about a animal that plays sports. I'll give you that. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, buddy, but that's a no. Do we buy him more time to write all of the rest of them down?
I'm very close to being done.
After Andrew's comment, I'm now literally thinking about other movies where animals play sports, and I'm like,
anyway,
I got the list. Okay, we have
Oh god.
Airbud, Airbud Golden Receiver, Airbud World Pup, Airbud 7th Inning Fetch, Airbud Spike Back, MVP, which is Most Valuable Primate, MVP 2, Most Vertical Primate, MXP, Most
what does that
Extreme
even
Primate,
mean?
Air Buddies, Snow Buddies, Space Buddies, Spooky Buddies, Santa Buddies, Treasure Buddies, Super Buddies, Santa Paws, The Search for Santa Paws, Santa Paws 2, The Santa Pups.
Okay, once they put a bunch of
Okay,
puppies,
buddies.
I'm sorry. This is just an interesting thing from that list. Now, mind you, this series started with a dog being allowed to play in a middle school basketball game. How did they possibly get to space? Like,
By accident, Matthew.
I mean, if the Russian, I mean, that was said
you know
there by the
what? I
Russians.
think, you know what? You know what? No, that's interesting because I'm pretty sure when all the kids ask Airbud, "Hey, Dad, how we get here?" he gave that same answer. Get it? By accident.
Just one last thing about Airbud. I really like someone I think on Movie Fights at one point was talking about Airbud, and they pointed out the fact that some kid had to have been kicked off of that team.
It's true. There's some kids saying this.
And when that kid got home that day and has to tell his dad, what?
That's the movie I want to see Disney
That's
make.
the thing I want to see is this really,
And then
like,
you watch a
drunken...
dog humiliate human children.
Anyway,
Reenact this movie in the age of YouTube.
Right.
But anyway, Doug, what's the next nomination? That's not from the Earbud franchise.
Yeah, we're not gonna go dip that back down into the Airbud franchise, but I will give you an animal. I will give you an animal who's sentient.
No.
I'll give you 8 of them. And
Oh no.
since we
No.
shut your mouth. I'm allowed to nominate what I want. And since you didn't give me Muppets Christmas Carol, I'm doing another Christmas movie. Guess what? Deal with it. I'm going with Santa Claus. The Santa Claus, but with Tim Allen.
That's not where.
Oh, thank God.
I don't think that's where any of us thought it was going. We
I'm glad.
Were we all thinking Snow Dogs?
Snow Dogs?
Yeah,
No,
I was thinking
not
that
going
fucking
with
Cuban-
Snow Dogs. First of all, the reindeers are sentient beings and they're cocky and they're funny. No, but let's be honest. If we're gonna put any Christmas movie really on the list, it deserves to be this one. Tim Allen was in his prime. The story is very much an amazing one about a father becoming a father, learning to care for his son and understand that his son needs him. I think it was a very intelligent movie that they brought out. It did spawn a sequel that was okay and a third movie that was terrible. But I like I said, I do think the Santa Claus is one of uh, the best Christmas movies that Disney's ever put out.
But Matt, what do you say about Santa Claus?
I'll say yes. How many spots are left?
4.
Four.
Four. Okay. I'll say yes. I really love this movie. I love Tim Allen. I love the music. I'm just for my own personal head. It had nothing to do with this getting on. Not for me. It's not on my list mostly just because it's a Christmas movie, and I really don't tend to watch those outside of November, December. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the Santa Claus, but it's not one I would go back and rewatch any time. And it is on it's on my list, but it's really low down. So I'm probably going to say no. Because I've got a few others that should be on here that are much higher up. Andrew, what do you say about Santa Claus?
I'm going to keep this short. I'm going to keep this sweet. I'm not the biggest fan of this movie. I don't care for it. I'm going to say no.
Cameron, what do you say about the Santa Claus?
I wrote this down a while ago and I haven't erased it. Look. It's missing the best thing you can have in any Christmas movie, and that's Martin Short as Jack Frost, of course.
Wait. You
I'm going to no Christmas movie. It's Martin
Every
Short.
movie Cameron puts up ever now. Every movie Cameron puts up ever now is getting a no. Because he is a bad child. Bad child. You naughty child.
I'm not a huge fan of this movie. I think the sentient reindeer they're weird and they're creepy and they're unsettling.
Yes.
It's a family film that starts with us murdering a beloved holiday character and Tim Allen.
Whoa.
Sorry, greatly incapacitating.
Alright? He kills himself, first off. And it doesn't start with
What?
Sorry. It starts with
First of
Tim
all,
Allen causing Santa Claus to die and then stealing his clothes.
No.
Look, it's a no. We're moving on.
The question is, will Cameron say yes to it if Airbud was in the movie?
There are 3 Santa-based movies from the Airbud franchise.
There were 3?
Yeah.
Santa Buddies, Santa Paws 2.
Anyway, Matt, what's your next movie you're going to nominate?
There's a lot I want to nominate, but I have to use my nomination on the one that needs to be on this list because apparently no one else is.
Here it comes.
I'm nominating National Treasure. This movie is incredible. Nick Cage as Ben Gates is fantastic. I'm gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. This movie is it's Disney's Indiana Jones minus all violence of the Indiana Jones movies, but I'm okay with that. It's the one movie where Sean Bean doesn't die, and he's great in it. It's John Voight as Nick Cage's dad is great. The whole movie's great. We've been making jokes about it, and I'm using my nomination because it needs to be on this list. National Treasure.
I've seen this movie once. It's a very hard pass for me. I do not like National Treasure. Andrew, what do you say about National Treasure?
Okay. Anyone who knows me knows that I am a history buff. I love my American history. And this movie totally gets a yes. This movie is fantastic. I love every minute of this movie. That climax below oh my god, it's amazing. The church, it's amazing. This is a definite yes from me.
Cameron, what do you say about National Treasure?
Look, I teased it a long time ago. It's a yes. I love both of these movies. I agree that the first one is better by a pretty good margin, but they're still both very fun and very enjoyable. I just rewatched these like a couple weeks ago on a whim because they're movies that I've owned for a long time, and I just really enjoy watching them. Absolutely, heck yeah.
Doug, what would you have said about National Treasure?
It's a yes for me.
And with that, National Treasure makes it on, and it's back to me. I'm going to go try for this, see what happens. I know this movie has gotten a lot of flack in the past. I know there's a lot of people that don't like this movie, but I'm going to bring up the BFG. The BFG is one of my favorite Waddell books of all time. The movie itself is probably my second favorite adaptation of Waddell books, but the BFG is a great movie, and I really do enjoy it. And along with Zach Ford, like me and Zach are probably the only two defenders of this movie, and I do think it belongs on this list. Andrew, what do you say about the BFG?
I saw a lot of the trailers for it, and boy, did I look uninterested. I did not see this movie, so I cannot rightfully say yes. So I have to say no.
Cameron, what do you say about the BFG?
No. That's it. No.
Doug, what do you say
I'm
about the
thinking and I
BFG?
don't care now.
I also have to give this a no. I think it fell short of a lot of my expectations. I'm a big Rondell fan, and it just felt short for me. I know it hit for other people, but it just felt short for me.
I love the book.
And Matt, what would you have said about the BFG?
I would have given it a BFN. A big fucking no. Never seen it. Saw the trailers for it, and I was like, yes. No. What are we doing?
Anyway, it's back to Andrew. What's your list?
Ooh. There are 4 that I'm deciding between, and I think I'm gonna go with this one. That's right. I'm gonna nominate Angels in the Outfield.
Oh God.
I love Angels in the Outfield. I love sports movies. I love baseball. But the story in this, I love the characters in this movie. Christopher Lloyd is amazing in this movie. I love Danny Glover. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tony Danza, Matthew McConaughey. Like, everyone does such a great job in this movie. I think the story's pretty tight. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's really good. And the visuals are really nice. They almost have that Sistine Chapel kind of vibe to it in my mind. So I'm gonna go with Angels in the Outfield.
Cameron, what do you say about Angels in the Outfield?
At this point, there's only 3 spots, and I have 6 movies on my list that are higher than it, so it's a no. It's self-preservation at this point, and I'm sorry.
Doug, what do you say about Angels in the Outfield?
If you would have pitched this first instead of Mary Poppins, because we knew Mary Poppins was going to get on the list, I would have definitely gave this a yes. A young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, young Joseph Gordon-Levitt leads this movie perfectly. It's just, unfortunately, for the final 3 that we got left, it's very hard to put them on the list. Even though it has such a heartwarming ending with Danny Glover taking them home. Unfortunately, it's a no.
Matt, what do you say about Angels in the Outfield?
My thoughts are very similar to Doug, where I feel like if this movie had been brought in up earlier, I might have been convinced to say yes, but with only 3 spots left, there are just more movies on my list. Even another sports movie that I would prefer to see on the list over Angels in the Outfit. Even though I like the movie a lot, it's got a super. I watched it like 2 weeks ago. It's got a super 90s cast, which I love.
Super
Tony
90s.
Danza's great in it. Young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Christopher Lloyd, but it's there are just 3 more movies that could be on this list over this one.
Y'all hate baseball. I get it.
Excuse me, I'm a baseball star. Them's fighting words.
Yeah, I've seen this movie once, and this movie can stay in the outfield. I really don't like this movie.
Malcolm, I'm wondering, Malcolm,
Sam.
how long were you waiting to deliver that punchline?
I'm gonna be honest. I have expected you to bring it up first, but
Fair enough.
but Cameron, what's your next nomination?
Matt, do you have another movie with Kurt Russell?
Fuck yeah, I do.
Okay, great. Then I'm gonna let you bring that one up because I have a feeling that
Bring it up.
But Matt, I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that has my sports biopic on their list.
Oh,
that
please
means
bring
it's
that
not
up.
going
Bring
to-
the sports biopic
That
up.
means it's not going to get on the list. Where's Kurt Russell will?
Yeah, Kurt Russell
Do
will
it,
get on the
Cameron.
list, so you can bring him up, and I can take a Hail Mary shot.
What? That? You know what? Fine, bring it up. I'm going to say no just to spite you now.
No, because I'm pretty sure you really like the lead actor in this movie. Okay, sports biopic that I've been teasing
Do it.
for a very long time.
I think I know what it is.
2015's McFarland USA.
Ah.
No, is this not the movie?
Nope. Not
What
the
other
movie.
sports biopics are there from Disney? What am I missing?
There's one with Mark Wahlberg.
Oh, there's 2.
Oh, I'm not bringing up Invincible. No.
You
I said
asked
it
me
already,
what other
so-
movie.
McFarland USA. I think it's a really interesting story. It's just a heartwarming film. It's got a great lead performance from Kevin Costner, and just I think overall it's a really fun, really nice family film. McFarland USA. Go Danny.
McFarlane USA is on the table. Doug, what do you say about it?
This is the only Kevin Costner movie that I have not seen because it looked uninteresting to me. It's a heartfelt story. I know the story, but I just don't feel like the movie pulled me in as much. So it's enough.
Matt, what do you say about McFarlane USA?
You made the age-old classic mistake of trying to choose Costner over Russell, and 9 out of 10 times you will lose, my friend. It's a no. I saw the trailer for this a bunch of times. It's like, I like Kevin Costner. He's in my favorite sports film. Never saw this movie. I don't even remember what the plot of this movie is. What sport is in this movie?
Running.
Couldn't tell you.
Track and field.
Running? They made a movie about that with Costner? Gee, man,
Yeah,
that
sure
guy
did.
really slipped in his old age, didn't he?
But yeah, I've just not seen this movie.
Yeah, I had a feeling. All right, let's move on.
Malcolm said, I'm sorry. I would love it if Malcolm actually saw this movie. Like, of all the movies on this list, he said I had seen, this is the one he's seen.
Andrew, what would you have said about McFarlane USA?
Here's the one reason I would have said yes. My boy Alexander McNichol is in this movie. He's Fitz Mitchell, I believe.
I can look that up.
I went to college with Alexander McNichol, and I know that he's a hell of an actor. So I would have said yes for that purpose only.
And yes, cross-country running is considered a sport. Yeah.
It's called comedy,
Yes.
guys. Look,
Oh well, this was more to Star Drew in the chat, but Doug, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
So when breaking down my list, I wanted to add a really feel-good movie that had a lot of heart to it, that had a classic group of Disney characters brought to the modern age. A lot of people either really like this movie or don't like this movie. And I'm hoping maybe you guys are people that like this movie. And I'm talking about Christopher Robin. I think this movie brought Winnie the Pooh to the modern age, and you get a very heartwarming scene between Pooh Bear and a growing Christopher Robin. You get Tigger being Tigger, the wonderful Tigger. Oh man, you get to see just Christopher Robin go from this happy child to this really serious adult, and then find his innocence again and be able to love his child. I think Christopher Robin's a perfect movie. I really do. I know a lot of people probably find flaws in this, but Winnie the Pooh is one of my favorite Disney characters, along with Eeyore and Tigger and Piglet and Al and and all of them. It's one of my favorite books as well, Winnie the Pooh. So I'm putting Christopher Robin on the table, guys, and hopefully you guys agree.
Yeah, Matt, what do you say about Christopher Robin?
I'll say this. I saw the trailers, and I liked them a lot. I was part of that group that did the whole, edited the end where it's like poo, and you put, something else. Like, it did, Tom Dagnino, bottom line, you're a loser. You can find them all on my Twitter, at Kearns_Matthew. I gotta promote something of mine during the show. I still have yet to see this movie. It's on Netflix. I'm terrible with Netflix. Where I'll be like, oh man, Christopher Robin, I haven't seen it. It's on it. Let me watch it. And then right below, I'll be like, watch again. I don't know, National Treasure. And I'll be like, National Treasure is good. I just want National Treasure again. So I'm sorry, I haven't seen it. I actually did that today. I watched Caddyshack instead of watching this.
But yeah, I have seen this movie. This was my number one movie the year it came out. So it's going to be yes. But yeah. But
I knew it was gonna happen. I know that it was his favorite movie last year.
But Andrew, what do you say about Christopher Robin?
I haven't seen it. I wanted to. One of my favorite critics really loved the movie, and I was like, "Oh, great! I'll see the movie," and I just couldn't get around to it.
Malcolm, you're one of Andrew's favorite critics.
Cameron, what do you say about Christopher Robin?
Cameron, I was gonna say, no.
Whoa! God damn. Cameron commits to his nose.
He brought props.
I had a chance to see this at a free screening at my university. I was there for about 15 minutes and was just completely bored and uninterested, and legitimately walked out, got on the bus, and went home.
You walked out of a free movie?
Yeah, that's how little I cared.
I mean, I've also walked out a movie that I was literally given the tickets for, and that movie was Primer. That was just literally boring.
What? What was the movie?
It was called Primer.
Oh, okay. Never heard of it. Why would they make a movie out of paint? That's weird.
But anyway, Matt, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
Here comes the Kurt Russell.
No, I don't know, because there are several movies. And there are, how many spots left now?
Three.
Three.
We've been free for a while.
There's a movie I have above the Kurt Russell. I already got Kurt Russell on the list. So I'm going to bring up this one, because we already got the Kurt Russell on the list. I'm going to bring up a movie that I consider to be in the top 5 adventure films of all time. It is a severely underrated film. It's a amazing movie, though. Super quotable. There is no Queen of America I'm going with 1993's The Three Musketeers. The cast of this movie is incredible. Kiefer Sutherland, Oliver Platt, Charlie Sheen, Chris O'Donnell, and Timothy fucking Curry as the villain. And he is just like such an asshole, and he lives in it. The action, the film is shot really well. It has great music, and it's a wonderful adventure film. So The Three Musketeers.
I'm just going to say no.
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you say?
Considering a whole bunch of mine got shot down, and considering I did have this on a list in general, I'm going to say yes. I like the Three Musketeers. I wouldn't call it one of my personal favorites, but it's a fun adventure movie, and Tim Curry as the Cardinal is just to die for.
Cameron, what do you say about Three Musketeers?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Doug?
So let me emphasize by saying this. Anytime we can get a Tim Curry on a list, it should happen. And I don't foresee anybody else putting another Disney movie up on the list that has Tim Curry. You can, but I don't foresee it happening. I do, however, really enjoy this movie. Whenever it comes on TV, I find myself sitting down and watching it because it really does kind of like suck you in. It's one of those. Three Musketeers is an amazing book, and it got adapted pretty well by Disney. So yeah, let's do it.
Let's make it all for one and all for love, guys. Come on.
Do you want me to change my answer, Matt? Do you want me to change my answer?
Change it, Andrew. Change it.
No, I'm not changing my answer.
Change it.
But anyway, it's back to me. I'm going to bring up.
Bring up Kurt Russell.
Bring up the one I hope you are going to bring up.
I'm going to bring up a movie that I do think should be on here. It stars a great actor who's he's got the letter S in his name. And it's,
is this the other one I was thinking of?
I'm going to bring up Oz the Great and Powerful, starring James Franco. But I really do like this movie. I do think this is a nice, fun movie. It's one that I never knew I wanted when it came out, but I found that I loved it, and I would love to see a sequel, but I don't think it's ever going to happen.
There was a sequel called The Wizard of Oz. It came out several years ago. And then there was a sequel after that called Return to Oz.
And
there was an animated one.
So, yeah.
I was wondering as a direct sequel to Oz the Great and Powerful, because there's still a lot between the end of this and start of Wizard of Oz. But anyway, Andrew, what do you say about Oz the Great and Powerful?
Malcolm, I'm very happy that you love this film.
But
however,
that can't be good.
However, this is the one film that if it wasn't for the fact that if I had gone by myself, I would have walked out. I've never walked out of a film before. I would have walked out of Oz the Great and Powerful. I'm sorry, genuinely, but I have to say no.
Cameron, what do you say about Oz the Great and Powerful?
So I just rewatched the original Wizard of Oz a week and a half ago for a different thing that I'll talk about when we're doing plugs. And I don't love that movie. I think that the original is very good, and I understand why everyone loves it, but to me, it's not something I love. So how do you think I'm going to feel about this movie? So
You're gonna love it.
All I gotta say about this is James Franco, more like James Frankly, no.
James Frankley, no.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
man. Oh man. Geez.
Doug, what would you say about Oz Grand Powerful?
So for me, it is a no, but it's because there is a better prequel done with a Broadway musical, which they're going to be making a movie of. Wicked was just better done and a better story. And I honestly didn't love this movie.
And Matt, what would you have said about Oz the Grand Powerful?
I remember when this movie was coming out, like, it was a heavily marketed movie. Saw the trailers a lot, saw billboards everywhere. Never saw the movie. And you know what? Kind of okay with that.
And
How can I top James Franklin? No.
and for those out there that are probably yelling out saying the original Wizard of Oz is Disney, it's not.
Nope.
It was Warner Brothers that did it. They bought the rights later. Their first Oz movie was Return to Oz, which is not being brought up by anyone, I hope. Andrew, tell me why I'm probably wrong.
So my next pick.
So about Return to Oz.
No, you're right, Malcolm.
I like starring childhood. Sorry.
You know what? Since you had to say his name, nah, I'm not gonna go with that one.
Do it.
Do it. Right.
Screw it. Let's go with it. The sports biopic that I thought was going to be brought up, The Greatest Game Ever Played. This is a biopic about the first amateur to ever win the U.S. Open in golf. Everyone great performances. Shia LaBeouf actually, this is one of his best performances. It's very engaging. It's very warm. And yeah, let's go with it. Since everyone brought up Shia LaBeouf, The Greatest Game Ever Played. And here's where everyone says I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I haven't. Cameron, what is that?
So I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that me and Matt changing "Do It" when you said his name was brought up was about a different actor that is not Shia LaBeouf.
Bill
Shia
Paxton.
LaBeouf is actually my favorite actor of all time. Shia LaBeouf is my favorite actor. I think he is legitimately incredible in pretty much everything he does. He's been in some bad things, but I don't think he's bad in anything. I have seen The Greatest Game Ever Played. But
I knew it!
But it's been a very long time since I've seen it. So I have to say no.
Doug, what do you say about the greatest game that ever played?
Your last chance, Doug.
So, Andrew, we need to sit down and have a conversation. I have seen this movie. I like this movie. I just, however, think it's very low in parts. It does have a great ending. It has a phenomenal opening, but it rolls through the entire movie, and it's really slow. It's too much of a slow burn. I do, however, like this movie though, but I can't give it to the final two spots. Shia is amazing in it. I'm sorry, Shia is amazing in it. I will give him that credit. It's before he started going downhill, and then his resurgence. But yeah, it's a no.
Matt, what would you have said about the greatest game that ever played?
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. Make your dreams reality. I have seen this movie. Saw it once with subtitles when I was playing pool in a bar. And I was like, oh, what movie is that? And my mom was like, I think it's called like The Greatest Game or something. And I Googled it and I was like, oh, it is. And then I went back to playing pool and it was just like, there. And I was like, okay. I probably lost because I suck at pool, but I have seen it. Now, based on all that, I know what everyone is thinking on the panel and the chat. They're going to be like, Matt's going to say no. Because that's what Matt would do. Matt would say in the movie that he only partially saw, he would say no to. You know what old Jack Burton would say to someone like that?
Who's Jack Burton?
Totally. Jack Burton. Me.
Now Matt's definitely saying no.
It's a quote.
You're a quote. How about this for a quote? Hell no. No, but I give you, you know what, good work on that little big stage. Most people don't do that because when I say that in real life, when I'm like, you know what old Jack Burr would always say, they literally ask it like, who? And then when I respond, I think like, oh, they've seen the movie, and they haven't. Can we pretend that Big Trouble in Little China is a Disney movie? It's not. But can we just all pretend?
Cameron, what is your next nomination you're bringing up?
Bring it up.
All right. No. No. I need to tell a personal story instead. Okay. Okay. The year is 2008. The day, October 31st, also known as Halloween. I am 8 years old at this
Oh
point.
no.
Now I'm a young man. I'm a young man.
Well, you were
I'm 8 years old.
8?
And Cameron, instead of going trick-or-treating door to door, goes trick-or-treating at his local mall. Because that's a thing they used to do, and then they just stopped doing it for some reason. After going trick-or-treating, we go to the movie theater within this mall to watch a film. A film that I love. A film that is the third in a trilogy that I absolutely adore.
No.
A film.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I have to do it. A film that I skipped my graduation banquet to watch the first of the three with my friends. This is not a joke, it's a real thing I did. What team? Wildcats. High School Musical 3, senior year. My personal favorite of the three High School Musical films. It's fantastic. The music is super well done. It's brilliantly directed by Kenny Ortega. Zac Efron actually gives a very good performance in this, and the songs that he sings are all fantastic. Corbin Bleu is a fantastic dancer, and The Boys Are Back is an amazing song and dance number. Just the story overall is very fantastic. The way that his character has to reconcile the two parts of who he is and find a way to make that work while dealing with the fact that he truly can't make it work alongside also being with the woman that he loves because she is doing something completely different from him thousands of miles away. Absolutely fantastic. The production value is amazing. Great moments of comedy, great moments of drama. Every single song in that movie is fantastic. High School Musical 3. Shout out Paulo Yama. I'm ready to get turned down by the
Someone had to bring him up.
Doug, what do you say about High School Musical 3?
So Cameron, you got me so enthusiastic right now that you want me to sing, and I'm gonna say we're soaring, we're flying. So not putting this on the list. Sorry. This is a no.
Rude.
This is a major no. Don't say rude. Don't say rude when you showed white doors with no. It's my chance to do this. I don't agree it's the best of the High School Musical series. I think the first one's better. I think it was just better music. But yeah, no, I can't give this movie in any reasonable mindset second place, one of the final two. Sorry.
Matt, what do you
I
say
couldn't
about
nominate the first one, Doug.
Matt? What do you say about the High School Musical 3?
What I would say is, if you had brought this up earlier, I could have been convinced to give it a yes, because I come from the High School Musical generation. I remember watching the first movie when it premiered on Disney Channel, and I feel fucking old saying that. And then I remember seeing the second one and this one in theaters. This is actually a movie that I came back a couple of months ago and I hadn't seen in a while. I was like, wow, the songs in this are really good. Last Chance to Get It Right, Scream were standouts for me. It's
Scream
just
is
I
so
think
good.
I think it's definitely a great use of like what a song in a musical is supposed to be. It's just last two spots. There's so many other movies that put over it, but I do like the movie, and I'm fine with saying I like the whole trilogy because they are the greatest nostalgia trips I ever take are watching those films.
Scream did the Inception hallway 2 years before Inception.
Yeah. I hate all the High School Musicals except this one. But even then, I'm still not going to say yes to it. High School Musical 3 is just fine. It's not top 12, that's for sure. Andrew, what would you have said about High School Musical 3?
It's the best of the three. I would have said no.
Doug,
Andrew will talk about this more in 2 weeks.
Oh, don't you dare!
Doug, what's your
Don't
next nomination?
you dare!
All right. So, we really, I don't think we do. We have no actual 90s Disney movies on the list.
What?
Here it
We have
comes.
the Three Musketeers.
Three's Musketeers. Sorry, I just tried to correct myself. We don't
Here it
have any
comes.
real juggernauts that were a part of the 90s eras. And a juggernaut for me starred Dennis Quaid, starred who I thought was twin sisters at the same time, because I didn't know that she was an only child, or not an only child. She was doing this role by herself. I'm doing The Parent Trap from '98. I think this was an amazing movie. You can do all you want, you can say all you want, but to be that young and to do two completely opposite roles, it was amazing. Dennis Quaid was amazing in this film. You saw a caring father, even though he was marrying someone that was evil. People ask, why don't you throw the older Parent Trap? I actually think the 98 is better. I think it's of a better quality. I think it was a juggernaut of the 90s. I think it started Lindsay Lohan's career. So, Parent Trap 98.
Matt, what do you say about The Parent Trap from 98?
This was another one of those movies that was on Disney Channel a lot when I was growing up, and I actually do like it. I think saying Dennis Quaid was amazing in this movie. Dennis Quaid's a great actor, but I don't think he was bringing his A+ material to The Parent Trap. I love you, Doug, and I love Dennis Quaid. I'm gonna say no again. Just last two spots. When you were talking about a juggernaut of the 90s, I thought there was another film with kids you were gonna be bringing up.
Me too.
But yeah, I'm sorry, Doug. You're gonna have to say no.
I think I know which film you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do enjoy this version of The Parent Trap. It is fun, but the original is much better, and it's also not the best Disney movie starring Lindsay Lohan. So, I'm saying no to the 98 version of The Parent Trap. Andrew, what do you say about The Parent Trap from 98?
I actually like this movie. I don't love it, but I can admire it. We only have 2 spots left. There are 4 movies that I would rather put above it, even though I really like this one. So while I was considering it, I'm going to say no.
And Cameron, what would you have said about Parent Trap?
Oh, has it already been shut down? Okay. I actually really enjoy this movie. I think it's a very fun time. My biggest issue with the film is the third act of it. I don't love once they're both reunited after they've been meddling with their parents and they like go on the camping trip with their dad and the woman that she's dating. That's just awful. That movie goes down for me. I don't enjoy that part of it. I would have said no, but I do enjoy the film.
Anyway, Matt, what's your next nomination?
This is really, really tough. There's two I want to bring up, and I'm not sure which one to bring up. Let's go between Kurt Russell and It's the Base. Which is a what?
Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell or what was the other one?
It's the Base.
Kurt Russell. Just do the Kurt Russell one, Matt.
Oh, really, Cameron? The one that you refused to do? So that you
Yes.
what was the movie you brought up instead of him? I don't even remember. Oh, McFarlane USA. All right.
Yeah, look, and we've gone 2 rounds since then and still nothing.
All right, and I will. At the shame of myself for not bringing up the other one, I'm going to bring up a movie that I watched endlessly growing up as a kid. It was the first film I ever saw with a particular. Well, actually, no, technically, voice acting was the second, but going with 2005, Sky High. Cast in this movie is incredible. We have Kurt Russell. We have John Travolta's wife, whose name I can't remember, Samantha Kay. We have Linda Carter. We have Bruce freaking Campbell. Young Danielle Panabaker playing the superhero before The Flash. And this movie is just a lot of fun. The concept is there's a high school for superheroes, and you get on your first day of freshman year, you get put on track to be a superhero or a sidekick. And just like the concept alone is just like really funny of just like, yeah, like how do you become a sidekick? Even if you have superpowers. Oh, well, your superpowers just suck. And Bruce Campbell decides it. I also give this movie points for like being really original. Because like a lot of Disney movies are like based on like books or real events or like, you know, all this stuff. Whereas this I think this is a movie that now that we're so inundated with superhero movies, I feel like it would have done better. I feel like in 2005 it just was like superhero movies were popular, but they weren't like they are today. And the fact that we were supposed to get a Disney Channel show with Kurt Russell and we didn't because this movie didn't perform well is the most upsetting thing ever. But this movie's amazing, and Kurt Russell is the commander. He's one of the greatest superheroes ever committed to film. So, Sky High.
This also featured the great Linda Carter as principal of this as well,
And Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Royal Pain.
and also Bruce Campbell as Coach Boomer. There's so much great cast in this. And also, talking about Mary Elizabeth Winstead, do you know who provided the voice of her in her Royal Pain suit?
No.
It was Patrick Warburton. But
Right.
No, forget about the voice. No, that makes sense. No, that makes sense.
And Jim Rash plays her dad.
Oh my god, that's right. He's great. You're not
yeah,
cheat on, are you?
but yeah, if Matt hadn't brought up this, I would have been bringing it up straight after him. It's a hell yes from me. Andrew, what do you say about Sky High?
I like this movie. There are 4 movies I like more. No.
It's okay.
Cameron, what do you say about Sky High?
So, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, me and my best friend were hanging out, and I casually brought up this movie, and she was like, "I've never seen it before," and I immediately, I was like, rushed it, got it, put it on while we're doing stuff, and just I love this movie. It's fantastic. There's a character whose dad is a villain and his mom is a hero, and it's called War and Peace. And while that may seem cheesy to you, I think that's really great and really clever writing.
I thought his name was War and Peace.
Got Danielle Panabaker. You've got Zach Braun as Zack Attack, the kid who can glow in the dark. Who, no joke, I was gonna dress as for Halloween this year, but I couldn't find enough egregiously neon clothes in time. There's Ethan, who can melt. Magenta can turn into a guinea pig. And then you have a girl who has all the powers that are needed to be a hero, but refuses to use violence. And so she gets put as a sidekick despite how incredible she is at what she does. I love this movie. This movie's fantastic. It's a yes, for sure.
And Sky High makes the list. Doug, what would you have said?
This is an absolute easy yes. It was on my list. It was actually on the top of my list. I was going to announce it earlier, but I was like, I don't know how these guys feel. Let me see. I heard this movie. It gave me one of my favorite Bowling for Sheep cover songs of all time. With "I Melt with You." And just the scene where they're falling down and they're all screaming at Magenta through the hole, and you just see them just going nuts. It's an amazing movie. I love that movie. So yeah, Sky High is I love it.
Right, so it's back to me.
Go with Festivus.
I'm going to go for one of the live action remakes because I do actually like a few of them. And I'm going to bring up Dumbo. This is this maybe too recent, for people to say yes to. I don't want. I loved what they did with this one, and they took the original one and added a little bit more and actually fleshed out the story a little bit better, and it actually flowed a lot more. And Michael Keaton as the villain in this is perfect casting. I quite like Colin Farrell's in this, and all the kids, and I do. Well, yes, it does disappoint me that they made all the animals not being able to talk. That didn't bother me too much because with the way they told the story, and the way they fashioned it, it worked a lot better than the animated one. But yeah, I really do like this, and it all had the aesthetics of Big Fish, which I also is another Tim Burton movie I actually really liked. Andrew, what do you say about Dumbo?
Saw the trailers. I love Michael Keaton. Haven't seen it. Sorry, I can't say yes.
That's fair. Cameron, what do you say about Dumbo?
I watched this like 2 weeks ago. Tim Burton is a director that I absolutely love. I think he's fantastic. Big Fish is one of, if not my favorite movie Tim Burton directed. That being said, if I wanted to watch a Tim Burton movie with the aesthetics of Big Fish, I'd watch Big Fish. I found this movie very boring and very dull and uninteresting. It's a no.
Doug, what do you say about Dumbo?
Yeah, sorry, Malcolm. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I refuse to see Dumbo because they took out one of my favorite characters in Dumbo, and when you do that, it kind of ruins the movie for me, and I won't see it. So that's one of the ones that I wouldn't see. Sorry.
And Matt, what would you have said about Dumbo?
I've told this to Malcolm several times. I will tell it to all of you now, and I will continue to say it for the rest of my life. I have not seen the live-action remake Dumbo, and not for the reason you may think. Is because the animated one, all the kids have Bambi's mom. Mine was Dumbo. I will not sit through the scene when the fucking kids harass Dumbo and his mom protects them, and then they get separated because of this piece of shit children. I refuse to watch. It's the reason why I have not seen the anime Dumbo since I was a kid. It's the reason why I will not see this Dumbo. It's a no.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, Andrew, there's one spot left on the list.
Malcolm's heard that from me so often when this movie's coming out. That's why he could just respond like that.
There's one spot left.
Quack.
There's three other movies I'd rather propose.
D3? Quack.
D2, quack, quack.
There's one that I personally really like, but I think will get shot down.
Like a
Go
duck?
for it.
No, I want that last spot.
Go for it. Take the 2.5 Hail Mary. I might like it.
You never know,
Yeah,
actually,
I
on
might like
Ranka.
it
What
too. You never know.
Andrew, I'm gonna be honest. You never know on Ranka what you think will never make a list. Usually,
All right,
makes
screw
the
it then.
list.
Screw it then. Because it's not that. It's not that.
Quack.
I actually really
Quack.
Quack.
Quack. Quack. Quack.
Quack.
I
Hey, Andrew, what's your thing?
actually really like this movie. Something about me says that I really shouldn't, but I do. And maybe because I love the two leads. I'm gonna go with The Princess Diaries. I actually really like this movie. I find it charming. I think Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews have wonderful chemistry. I know people are judging me so hard for this. It's not one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't think it's one of the greatest Disney live action movies ever. But because a lot of my favorite Disney live action movies have gotten eliminated, this is next on my list. I like The Princess Diaries. Let's go with The Princess Diaries.
Cameron, what do you say about The Princess Diaries?
So yesterday, as I said, I made time to watch some Disney live action movies that I either hadn't seen or hadn't seen in a long time. Two of those movies were Princess Diaries 1 and Princess Diaries 2. I watched them both. I like them both. And while I will admit, while I personally prefer Princess Diaries 2 because it has two of my favorite lines in all of cinema, legitimately, I'll get to that when we talk about honorable mentions. I really enjoyed the first one. It's a very fun time. I'm saying yes. We've got one spot left, and I've got 4 movies on this list. Princess Diaries is one of them. So yeah.
Doug, what do you say about Princess Diaries?
While I do enjoy this movie, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. It's a no for me. I don't think. For me, they don't hold up. They do the old, oh, she's got glasses, she's ugly technique, and it's not for me. She's all that, ages not well because of that as well. Yeah, unfortunately, it's a no for me.
Matt, what do you say about The Princess Diaries?
She's all that. It's a terrible movie, guys. It's nothing to do with Princess Bride, but it just is. Princess Bride was a movie that my sisters really loved growing up. We watched both of the movies a lot. I have not seen it in years, so I'm gonna give it a no because there's another movie that is better that should take this final spot.
Well,
Sorry, Andrew.
Well, it's down to me.
Quack, 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 quack,
and
quack.
There we go. All right, cool.
And because BFG, Oz Grand Powerful, and Dumbo all eliminated, it moves Princess Diaries into I'm happy to say yes to spot.
Woo!
I'd say yes to the Princess Diaries.
Yeah. I'm so surprised by that, actually.
Me too.
I had no chance making this list when I made mine. Wow.
All right.
That's our 12, right?
That's 12.
That's it.
That's 12.
Uh,
I
and with that, we've got our 12 our top 12 Disney live action movies. We've got Mary Poppins, we've got Holes, we've got Saving Mr. Banks, we've got Remember the Titans, got The Lion Witch of the Wardrobe, we've got The Curse of the Black Pearl, got How Do I Shrunk the Kids, we've got Miracle, we've got National Treasure, we've got The Three Musketeers, we've got Sky High, we've got The Princess Diaries. Andrew, did you have any honorable mentions?
3. The Muppets, Muppets Treasure Island, and Newsies. Oh, and Popeye.
And Cameron, did you have any honorable mentions?
So Newsies is actually the one I thought Andrew was going to bring up when he brought up Princess Diaries. I also had Newsies on my list. Newsies is a straight guilty pleasure that I love, and I also love it just because of what the Broadway musical managed to do with it, because that music is fantastic. I had Pirates 2 and 3 on my list, but the moment the first Pirates movie made it, I crossed both of those out because I only wanted one Pirates movie on this list. I also had The Chronicles of Narnia Prince Caspian. I think it's a great sequel. I think it's a great movie. Really enjoy it. I had National Treasure 2. I had Tron Legacy, but once Tron didn't make it, I knew that Tron Legacy had absolutely no shot of making it. And I had The Finest Hours with Chris Pine and some other people. Yeah.
Doug,
One that I had kind of forgotten about until I was reading a list, and then I saw it, and yeah. So every Air Bud movie.
Doug, did you have any honorable mentions?
I did. I had a few. So, like Andrew and like Cameron, Newsies was on my list. It was actually pretty high up on there. I love that movie. I had The Mighty Ducks. Quack, quack, quack. I had The Mighty Ducks. Look. It's great. I had Homeward Bound, Hocus Pocus, Tom and Huck, Freaky Friday, John Carter, Cinderella, The Jungle Book, and Beauty and the Beast, because I actually enjoyed that rendition.
Matt, did you have any honorable mentions?
I didn't say I did. Some of my honorable mentions were Who Framed Roger Rabbit, brilliant mix of live action, animation, great movie. I had Tuck Everlasting, actually. I really love that movie. Hadn't seen it in a while, recently revisited it. Let's see, other ones I didn't bring up. I'm gonna let you guys know something. It is right now. It is 84 degrees right now. I'm going to continue to sit in this hockey jersey. You all failed the Ducks to let Princess Diaries get on this list. Quack, quack.
Can I say one thing just real quick? I would have immediately proposed Who Framed Roger Rabbit if it was directly from Walt Disney Studios. It was one of their subsidiaries, which is the only reason that I did not.
But was it a
No, it's Touchstone technically.
Was it? Oh, I thought I read, because I didn't know that, so I thought I looked up and I thought it said it was released by Disney.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Disney animation side did all the animated parts of it. Yeah.
I would hope Warner Bros. People didn't animate the Disney side now.
But anyway,
I'm
for
not
Matt,
he's still can die on air, by the way, guys, because it's 84 degrees, but I don't care.
I don't know how hot 84 degrees is. I'm Canadian. And I can show you that it's 22 degrees here, and that means nothing to you. That's 22 degrees Celsius.
Oh.
I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. It's probably, I think it's like the 70s somewhere.
Yeah, and over here it's 11 degrees.
What? Oh, Celsius.
See, I understand, Malcolm, because they're on Celsius like they should be.
Metric system.
But anyway, yeah. I think I've said this to a few people before, but the Mighty Ducks trilogy would not have made my list whatsoever. I really do not like those movies. But for me, the honorable mentions that I've got is I also had Beauty and the Beast on mine. I really did like that live action remake. I also did enjoy the live action remake of Aladdin. I had The Jungle Book on mine. Freaky Friday. I had Into the Woods up there.
Yeah, that was a movie.
But now we get to the fun part, which is the actual ranking of this list. So we all write what we think, what we want to be at number 12 on whiteboards. And it's a pretty easy one for me.
I remember which ones Malcolm hadn't seen so that I know what he's writing down.
Yeah, right.
Malcolm, no. Malcolm usually doesn't do that. Malcolm will choose movies he really doesn't like over movies he hasn't seen in the week.
Yeah, I mean, I can't judge movies I've never seen. Andrew, what do you have for 12?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Cameron, what do you have for 12?
I have Three Musketeers.
Doug, what do you have for 12?
Princess Diaries.
Matt, what do you have for 12?
Doesn't make it on here. Prepared to see it a lot. Princess Diaries.
And I had National Treasure.
What the fuck?
Malcolm, is this going to be another Bohemian Rhapsody situation?
God.
Well, there goes
Princess
that.
Diaries is out. Princess Diaries is done.
Yeah, Princess Diaries is 12.
It is.
I watched those for nothing.
Rats.
Hope it was worth it, Andrew. I hope it was worth it.
Hey, it made the list, so
It made the list.
Look, I will say Princess Diaries 2 has two of my favorite quotes in film, which are I look like a moose, and then her stylist goes, but a very pretty moose. Make all the
I
bloody moose
forgot about
go. And also, when John Rhys Davies is talking to Hector Elizondo's character, he goes, "You'll find the word fear is not in my vocabulary." And Hector Elizondo, without flinching, just goes, "Perhaps, but fear is in your eyes." And that's one of the most badass things ever written in film.
But anyway, for 11, I've still got National Treasure. Matt, what do you have for 11?
It's not that I don't like this movie. I just like the other ones a little bit more. I have holes.
Doug, what do you have for 11?
I'm good.
I went with Three Musketeers.
Cameron, what do you have for 11?
I went with Three Musketeers.
And Andrew?
Changed it up and went sky high.
But Three Musketeers is going to be 11. And you write down what we want for 10. And Andrew, what do you have for 10?
Decided to stick with sky high.
And Cameron, what do you have for 10?
I went to what Andrew had before, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Rats.
And Doug, what do you have for 10?
And I went to what Andrew has right now, Sky High.
And Matt, what do you have for 10?
Holes.
And yeah, I've
National Treasure.
yeah.
No.
So
Hey, it made the top 10. It made the top 10.
Yeah, be happy it made the top 10.
I don't know why I erased my board, because I'm writing the same thing down.
but yeah, I'm keeping National Treasure.
God, Malcolm.
Matt, what do you have for 9?
I've actually decided to change it up and put holes.
What was that?
I put holes.
Doug, what do you have for 9?
Yeah, I went actually holes as well.
Cameron, what do you have for 9?
Honey, I Shrunk the Children.
Andrew, what do you have for 9?
You're gonna have to break this tie, Malcolm.
Yeah, a movie I've never seen before versus a movie I really like. So yeah, Holes is going to be number 9.
Choose from.
Thanks for inviting me, Malcolm. I'm having a great time.
Oh my god, this is a really good list.
Digging up them holes, digging.
That ending song alone makes this nervous on here. Sorry.
But anyway, Andrew, what do you have for 8?
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Cameron, what do you have for 8?
Our children are small.
Doug, what do you have for 8?
I went with National Treasure.
No.
Matt, what do you have?
No!
What do you have for 8?
Remember the Titans.
Matt's gonna have to break this tie.
Oh my god, he's gonna.
And I know
What?
how Matt's gonna break
Malcolm,
this tie.
what do you
What
have?
tie? I
What's
changed
on
it to
your board?
Saving Mr. Banks.
Ah, yeah!
Let's go.
Even though I disagree with the placement, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is going to be 8.
Malcolm.
Yes.
You have it the entire time, Malcolm.
Yes.
The entire time. And you switched.
Malcolm doesn't want people to bank on him having it.
But just to recap what we've got left, we've got Mary Poppins, we've got Saving Mr. Banks, we've got Remember the Titans, we've got Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe, we've got The Curse of the Black Pearl, we've got Miracle, we've got National Treasure.
And that's it.
That's it, yeah. But yeah, I've got Saving Mr. Banks still. Matt, what do you have for 7?
I still have remembering those Titans.
Doug, what do you have for 7?
National Treasure.
Cameron,
Saving Mr. Banks.
Andrew,
That hurts my soul. So will this. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
no, that Saving Mr. Banks is going to be 7.
Ah, that hurts.
Gotta take one more out and we're good.
And I'll be, for the record, I did bring it up, so you can't
Yeah.
say that
That's fair.
I'm trying to get my own ones higher. So
That's fair.
it's,
And here's where it happens.
but for number 6, Andrew, what do you have?
I still have The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Cameron, what do you have for 6?
Don't hurt me, Matt.
Doug, what do you have for 6?
National Treasure.
There it is.
Matt, what do you have for 6?
The Titans will be remembered.
And for number 6, I've got National Treasure.
Damn
Yeah.
it.
God.
Ah.
Could be higher.
It should be lower, actually, but
Yeah, it
I mean,
should
that's how
be.
the show works. It should be where it is, because that's how
Hey,
this works.
Malcolm, it's not Nick Cage. It's not Benjamin Gates' fault that New Zealand has nothing that anyone would want to steal of value. Okay?
Ooh.
Oh, that's mean. That's
That was
mean.
harsh.
I don't know. Australia likes trying to steal our stuff all the time.
Boy, I wish we had a nausea on here. That'd be real funny. I also feel like I'm going to die, guys. This isn't a joke, but I'm.
And take the jersey off.
No! I have to do it for 8 seconds.
Admit your love for the Princess Diaries.
fuck no. This can't be it.
Bow down
No
to
words.
Queen Amelia of Genovia.
Fuck Genovia.
But
God bless Genovia.
but I've got for 5. I've got Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. Matt, what do you have for 5?
A movie that I actually think number 5 is a good spot for it. Remember the Titans.
Doug, what do you have for 5?
Miracle.
Oh my god.
Cameron, what do you have
I
for
know
5?
what's about to happen. I know what's about to happen.
QEU?
Miracle, don't hurt me, Nat.
Andrew, what do you have for 5?
The Lion, the Witch, in the Wardrobe.
Oh, Matt, break the tie!
Thank God, mine with the wardrobe at 5.
Yeah, and both my top 2 are gone. That's nice.
Ah, man.
Welcome to Random.
So just to remind people what we've got left, we've got Mary Poppins, we've got Curse of the Black Pearl, we've got Remember the Titans, and we've got Miracle. Andrew, what do you have for 4?
Miracle!
Cameron, what do you have for 4?
Miracle, hockey sucks.
Doug, what do you have for 4?
America, miracle.
Matt, what do you have for 4?
Remember the Titans. I hate all 3.
And just because Miracle is one of the 4 I haven't seen, I've also put Miracle.
I like now Malcolm starts putting movies. He has this whole thing about how he's not but now he goes for Miracle. The fact
Well-
that got nearly clean sweep in all of you, you all need to just check your priorities. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, it's more of a case of
No,
the
Malcolm, don't.
just because the 2 I have seen, I think are the top 2. So
Oh. First there was alcohol and this was just water. Which is good because I'm going to die of this drink. And you guys put Miracle at 4.
It's alright, I'm not going to be late here for this choice.
What do we have left? Mary Poppins, Remember the Titans, and
And
Curse of
Pirates
the
of the
Black Pearl.
Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
yeah. Andrew, what do you have for 3?
Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Cameron, what do you have for 3?
Mary Poppins, deal with it, internet.
Doug, what do you have for 3?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Matt, what do you have for 3?
That Denzel movie with the guy from Armageddon.
And I put Remember the Titans, even though the Schmodown stars don't.
All right, Cameron.
Oh, to Cameron. Ooh. Matt, you wanted Remember the Titans lower on this list, right? Yeah, you voted no to polls. Pirates of the Caribbean goes at 3.
What do you mean? I put a yes to holes to get on the list, sir. That was one of the reasons why I got on the list.
Yeah, and then you had it landed low.
Cool. You voted for Three Musketeers and you got it for 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So we're writing our number 1, right?
We're writing at number 1.
This had better be a sweep. Oh, wait, no, it won't.
It's not going to be
Yeah,
a
it's
sweep.
not gonna be.
It's not going to be a sweep. This is why you have 5 panelists.
Why do I come on this show now?
So, Andrew, what do you have for number 1?
My number 1 movie, Mary Poppins, y'all.
Cameron.
Remember the Titans. Holes.
No.
Remember the Titans.
Matt.
Miracle. No. Wait, Mighty Ducks. Nah. Wait, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
So,
It doesn't matter, Malcolm. It doesn't matter.
I mean, everyone knows which one is on my board, because it's Mary Poppins. I've never seen Remember the Titans, so Mary Poppins is going to be number one.
Yes! This list is practically perfect in every way.
Except for Mighty Ducks.
Besides the Mighty Ducks aren't on the list.
They would have been number one. We all know that.
But just to recap what our top 12 list is, at 12, we've got the Princess Diaries. At 11, we've got the Three Musketeers. At 10, we've got Sky High. At 9, we've got Narnia Deserves Better.
Narnia
And
and Holes deserved better.
I agree that Narnia deserves better. I've never seen Holes, so I don't know that it deserves better or not. At 9, we've got the aforementioned Holes. At 8, we've got Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. At 7, we've got Saving Mr. Banks. At 6, we've got National Treasure. At 5, we've got Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe. At 4, we've got Miracle. At 3, we've got Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. At 2, we've got Remember the Titans. And at number 1, we've got Mary Poppins. And all that's a great list. And as always, I'll have a new poll up with the 5 choices for next week. But we'll find out where we can find everyone. Andrew, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Still not on Instagram. Still not on Twitter. But you can find me on Facebook under Andrew James Barr if you really want to talk to me. And I'm on Letterboxd under Andrew Barr. One word. The A and the B are capitalized. And you can find me co-hosting wherever people will let me co-host and playing wherever people will let me play.
And Cameron, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me writing questions behind the scene over at Full Metal Trivia, mostly for teams and singles, with occasionally a classic match every once in a while. You can find me on Facebook at Cameron Holzman. You can find me eventually in like a week and a half, I don't know, on Your List Sucks with Andrew James Barr. We'll be discussing the top 10 movie musicals. I guarantee my list is going to cause some controversy on the internet, and Cody will say the title of the show several times because of me.
I know one of your movies already.
Yeah, and you can find me hopefully doing this again sometime. Malcolm, please, let's do that Glee episode we talked about. Yeah.
And Doug, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can go check out my multiplex match that just uploaded today. You can find me hosting nerd sites and commissioning over there, commissioning over in Game Zone and hosting there. You can also find me in all the trivia aspects because I'm just twiddling my fingers in all of them. And also, I'm excited to be a part of Take Story. Thank you guys for having me join the team. And hopefully I'll have something new for you guys soon.
Matt, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can, as always, find me at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter. Please don't try to add me on Instagram or Facebook. I'm not going to accept your request. You can also find me on YouTube at MattMovies611. That's also my WordPress. You can find me right here as host of Second Look. Got some episodes in the works right after I release Moneyball. And as always, you can find me on The Summit, which goes live tomorrow, Monday. We're going to be talking about Dan Merle Week, because it is yet another week run by a person. Harlow, what are you doing with scheduling? That's just interesting. And being depressed on The Summit and possibly dying of heat stroke, but it's okay, because I'm doing it for ASFAs. Quack. Quack. Quack.
Quack.
Quack.
Quack.
Quack,
Quack.
quack,
Quack.
quack,
Quack.
quack, 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 quack.
No ducks on this list.
But anyway, before I go into my plugs, I'll recap what the top 5 on the fan poll was from last week's list, which was best Oscar-winning original songs. At number 5, A Whole New World from Aladdin. At 4, we've got Skyfall. At 3, we've got Shallow. 1, we've got Over the Rainbow from Wizard of Oz. And number 1 was Lose Yourself, 8 Mile.
Really?
Yeah, really.
How did the Prince of Egypt song not even make the top 5?
Number 1.
And how did
Falling Slowly should have been on that list. Yes!
But it doesn't count for the show we're on a week and a half from now because it's a musician movie and I'm mad about it.
But anyway, you can find me hosting Rankum every Sunday night. Next week's topic will be whatever wins the poll from next week. And you can also find me hosting Formula Random every Tuesday. This week is a Bill and Ted match featuring Sandy Robinson, Brian Michaels, and Ethan Bella. So that should be a lot of fun. But yeah, and
Excellent.
you also find me competing in trivia all over the place as well. Until next week, keep listening shit.
Quack.